Ange Postecoglou's men defeated Manchester United in relatively routine fashion as Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich played out a 1-1 draw. Real Madrid drew with their great city rivals Atletico Madrid. All that and a lot more coming up in today's episode of Football Fanatic. Now we kick off in Bavaria. Bayer Leverkusen went away to the Allianz Arena to play Bayern Munich, and as always, it was going to be a feisty affair. I felt as though this was the same way you see Der Klassiker in Germany between Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. I feel like this is the fixture that has kind of substituted that fixture. And it was very much expected. It was a game in which Bayern Munich were very, very good out of the blocks. They were intense. They were very, very strong. They were dynamic. Their press was incredible. And it took Bayer Leverkusen a few moments to get into the game. And frankly speaking, if we were to talk about the game moment to moment, there wasn't a lot of moments to talk about tactically. Of course, Bayern Munich were so good in dominating the game and keeping the ball and getting the ball back whenever they did lose the ball. But then Bayer Leverkusen were so strong defensively. Robert Andrich gets the first goal with a screamer from outside the box after, to be very honest, Bayern Munich were dominating the game up until then. And then you had Bayern Munich replying with an even better goal from Alexander Pavlovic. But those are the major moments in the game. But when you look deeper into the game, there are a lot of things that I found very interesting. For starters, we saw how Vincent Kompany's Burnley side looked last season. Many people labeling them as naive and downright stupid, if we're being very honest, for going into the Premier League and believing that they could just transfer that free-flowing football from the Championship to the Premier League. And as a result, they were relegated in 19th position. But many people questioned Vincent Kompany going to Bayern Munich, myself included, because for me, it doesn't make sense for you to fail at a team like Burnley and then go on to Bayern Munich. But I think in today's game and in today's footballing landscape, they don't particularly look for winners as much anymore. More about how do you see football and how can you implement that style of play at the club that they're trying to employ you. And I feel like with Bayern Munich, they felt that somebody like Vincent Kompany, the way he was able to coach a team like Burnley in a league like the Championship, where they knew that Burnley were the best team in the Championship by far, by players, by budget, by wage bill, they should have been promoted, and they were promoted through Vincent Kompany. So I think Bayern Munich's hierarchy's mentality was probably of the belief that we have the best squad in Germany. Okay, they didn't win the league last year, but Bayern Munich still have the best squad in Germany. If we can bring in a manager who is adept at having a squad that's better than the rest and implementing a style of play that dominates and destroys every other team in the league, maybe we can topple this Leverkusen Giants and Xabi Alonso's men. And I feel like in this game, you saw that in a way. You kind of saw the dominant style of football that Vincent Kompany likes to play. Fullbacks tucking inside, wingers holding their width, Michael Elise on the right, Gnabry on the left, Davies playing a role that I've never really seen him play, tucking inside. Normally we see him bombing down that left-hand side. Joshua Kimmich still playing as a CDM. Honestly, I still believe that this guy is not a world-class CDM, but nevertheless, playing in that CDM position. And in this game, it kind of looked like Bayern Munich were trying to implement themselves in a way as to dominate Leverkusen and to kind of just run through them. I think it's sort of the way Manchester City see Arsenal, in the fact that Manchester City don't respect Arsenal, right? Arsenal are a good team. We all know that. We've talked about it before. But I don't think there's that respect from the Manchester City team towards Arsenal in the way that I don't think they see Arsenal as a threat. I think they have and they still see Arsenal as, oh well, they're second place. They're below us. At the end of the day, we'll still come out on top. But I think that game against them recently is starting to change the tide. And I think today's game against Leverkusen is also changing the tide, because the way Bayern Munich played against Leverkusen was so interesting to me. And the way that Leverkusen was able to deal with the amount of pressure that Bayern Munich applied, because going to the Allianz Arena is not an easy game. Don't get it twisted. No matter who you are, it is not an easy game. But Bayer Leverkusen went there and they held their own. I don't remember Bayern Munich having many clear-cut chances. Of course, they hit the post. They had a few chances through, I believe it was Serge Gnabry, but Leverkusen also had chances of their own. They were playing more on the counter-attacking side, and it was a whole different side of Xabi Alonso's side that I've not really seen. We talked about how dynamic and flexible Xabi Alonso actually is in a video about a year ago now, and I think you saw that again today, showing that defensive rigidity with his team. And they were so good. The counter-attacking play was so good. And they just kind of nullified Bayern Munich, I feel. Honestly, that's the way I saw it. It just felt like a very mature performance. Go to the Allianz, get a point, and get out of there, you know? And I feel like Bayern Munich, they came into the season probably believing that, oh, that was a one-off from Leverkusen. We can just run to the league again. That's not going to happen again. You know, we're the best team in Germany. We still are, and we're going to prove it against Leverkusen today. But funnily enough, that was not the case. That was not the case. Leverkusen rode their luck. Leverkusen were strong defensively. Leverkusen caused a threat on the counterattack. And on another day, Leverkusen could have probably snatched it if Nathan Tella actually got that strike off properly instead of shooting it straight at Manuel Neuer. So for me, I think that game really showed you Xabi Alonso maturing as a manager. The fact that he was able to levitate his team to a level where he could compete with Vincent Kompany's team. Because I do think Vincent Kompany's Bayern Munich are going to do well against other teams in Bundesliga, which was the problem last year. I don't think the reason Leverkusen ran away with the league was because Bayern Munich against Leverkusen was a big mismatch, even though they did beat them 3-0. I think the only reason they ran away with the league was because Bayern Munich completely capitulated against majority of the other teams in the league, such as your Stuttgarts and your Leipzigs. Those defeats are what killed them. And I think this season you're not going to see that. I really don't think you're going to see that. I don't think they slip up in those games like they did last year. But Leverkusen, it still feels like they have a bit of a soft spot to them. I look at the way they've been nicking victories in these last few weeks. It's a bit sketchy. It's a bit sketchy. So it should be interesting to see how that develops. It's also interesting to see how Xabi Alonso will take his team into Europe, Bayer Leverkusen. That I think is going to be very interesting to see how they play in the Champions League against better teams, just like Bayern Munich, away from home at boisterous atmospheres. Leverkusen impressed me this weekend. A mature performance from a young group who have only just won major trophies in the last season. A lot to look forward to for Bayer Leverkusen fans. But we move on to the main scoop of this video. This video is probably going to be titled something like at the time I'm recording this, I haven't titled it, but it's probably going to be something about Manchester United. And really and truly, we'll talk about the game, but I'm then going to talk about the game and then extend it to a greater landscape because I feel like that's the main thing with Manchester United. And you look at the game to start off with, Spurs at home, and this is the first of 3 big games that Manchester United have coming up. I believe they have Aston Villa and then they have Porto coming up. Erik ten Hag is in big trouble. They drew with Twente a few days ago. I saw the goal that they conceded. Goodness me. And I feel like Manchester United, there's just so many problems at this football club. And I was talking to my friend about this, how every major club has a banter era. And Manchester United have been in a banter era for about 12 years now. And it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. But you look at the game, and I don't just want to hound down on Manchester United as though Spurs didn't play well. Spurs were magnificent. They were so good. The way in which they found passes in between the lines, Mickey van der Ven's forward passing, his driving with the ball. There were moments in the game where Spurs literally had 2 defenders back every single time Man United attacked because they trusted those back 2 that much. Udogie and Porro, incredible fullbacks on both sides of the field. Timo Werner, it's a shame that Heung-min-Son was injured today. Timo Werner is not a good player. I really don't know why they bought him. That guy is not a good player whatsoever. Every time he's one-on-one with the keeper, it just seems like he's not able to get the ball past them. Brennan Johnson's shutting up the critics recently. I believe that's his 4th goal in the last 4 games ever since he deactivated his Instagram account. And I really don't understand the hate that he was getting. For me, frankly, I didn't really understand that. Brennan Johnson's an average player. The way Spurs fans were insulting him, I don't know what they expect from him. He's not a world beater. He's not going to give you 20, 30 goals a season. He's going to give you his basic 10 to 12, maybe 6 assists here and there, and he's probably not going to turn up in big games. He's an average player. Like, what do Spurs fans expect from him? He's not Gareth Bale. He's not, I don't know, Heung-min-Son. He's not going to give you elite performances week in, week out. He's just a steady player, and he's going to do steady things. But, of course, he was magnificent in this game. And I think that just tells you everything about Manchester United. They make average players look like world beaters. That's genuinely the one thing every time I watch Man United that I notice. They make average players look like world beaters. I remember Mateus Cunha last season, on the first game of the season, running through Man United like he was prime Ruud Gullit, just driving through the midfield every time he got the ball, like he was prime Seedorf or something. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And in this game, it was the same thing. Mickey Van de Ven running through the entire squad, playing it back post to a free Brennan Johnson. Where Diogo Dallo was, I have absolutely no idea. And it's like Man United and Eric Ten Hag. The question is it the players? Because we've been saying this for years. At Man United, they've been saying this for years. It's the players, it's the players, it's the manager, it's the players, it's the manager. Eric Ten Hag has signed a good number of players. He has spent, I believe, almost £600 million forming a squad that he wants. And yet you still cannot see any semblance of a pattern of play. And if there is a semblance of pattern of play, if this is the pattern of play, then it's absolutely rubbish. It's absolutely rubbish. I really don't understand what he's trying to do with this team. You look at someone like Manuel Ugarte. What is the point of signing somebody like that? They had Casemiro and they complained about Casemiro not being able to receive the ball with his back to goal, not being able to turn, not being able to, be that deep lying playmaker that you need to be an elite side. And then they go and buy basically a Casemiro that's 6 years younger than him. I don't really understand what Manchester United are doing. And they can't make the excuse for this manager that, he didn't get the players he wanted like they did with Mourinho or like they did with Ole. He has gotten the players he wanted, and this team is still rubbish. So I really don't understand anything that's happening at Manchester United. I think them continuing with Eric Ten Hag into the new season was a complete and utter waste of a season because this guy is not a good manager. He's not. I've watched Manchester United play against average teams. I'm talking Brighton. I'm talking Bournemouth. And all due respect to these teams, these are good teams. I've Brentford, mid-table teams like Fulham. I've watched these sort of teams go to Old Trafford and run through Manchester United, run through their midfield, play through them like it's nothing. Okay, ultimately Manchester United probably win these games because they have elite players. Man, let me not say elite players. They have good players. But the fact that you're letting teams that mediocre just run through you, surely that's not a good sign. Their goal difference is laughable. I think for the last 2 seasons, they've not had above 10 goal difference. 10 goal difference. 10 goal difference. It's crazy. The fact that he's still in the job, despite the fact they lost 7-0. They lost, I don't think people understand what that even means. They lost 7-0 to Liverpool, and he's still in a job. They 7-0 and he's still in a job. How? I've never seen anything like this before. Honestly, I've never seen anything like this. At least with other managers who aren't doing well in the job, you can see a semblance of play. You can see what they're trying to do, but maybe it's just not coming off. Maybe the players aren't listening to it. Maybe it's just not a right fit. With Eric Ten Hag, he has been backed. He has been given time, and this team is still rubbish. And it's not like they're only rubbish against good teams. They're rubbish against almost every team they play. I remember there was a period last season where Man United played 3 games and conceded almost, was it 100 shots? 100 shots. Manchester United. This isn't Everton we're talking about. This isn't, Sheffield United. This isn't Burnley. Manchester United are conceding almost 100 shots in 3 games. How? You look at someone like Jadon Sancho, and there's so many other examples like him. The minute they leave Manchester United, they go on to bigger, better, more prosperous things. Why is that? Why is that? And it really boils down to, and the bigger picture that I even wanted to talk about, what is wrong with Manchester United as a football club? I talked about the banter era like a few minutes ago, and we were just mentioning different big clubs who have gone through banter eras. Barcelona for the last, some would even say up till now, from about 2019, 2020 till about 2022, 2023. Oh, we don't have money, all these jokes, right? Arsenal, Chelsea very recently, Liverpool, almost every major club has had their banter era. But the main thing is that banter era doesn't last forever, and it doesn't last a significant amount of time. Manchester United have been an unserious team for 13 years. 12, 13 years. I was telling my friend this. When's the last time you looked at Manchester United as a team and you said, oh, those guys, they're a team. They can challenge for Champions Leagues. They can challenge for Premier Leagues. They're a competitive team. That's the word I like to use. They are a competitive team because it's all relative. You can be a good team and not win anything. Look at Liverpool. They won one Champions League and one Champions League and one Premier League, but they probably deserve more than that. But how competitive are you? How much do you challenge those who do win those trophies? When's the last time Manchester United were a competitive team? And we both sat there, and he looked at me and I looked at him. Probably not up until 2013. 11 years, 12, 11, 13, 11, 12 years since Manchester United have been a competitive team. Since we've sat there and said, you know what, United can win the Premier League. You know what, United can win the Champions League. 11, 12 years. At some point, the banter era is no longer funny. The banter era is no longer funny. We have our laughs, we joke around, we make memes, we make jokes about the players, but at some point it's no longer funny. At some point you have to get up and say, all right, we need to fix what's going on here because this is a joke. At what point do we need to redefine our perception and say maybe Manchester United are just not a good team and we shouldn't expect them to be a good team? Half of my mates who are Manchester United fans, whenever they lose, they don't even bat an eyelid. And it's not because they don't watch football with a lot of tribalism and a lot of passion. It's because at this point, that's what they expect. We expect Man United to lose. We expect Man United to not perform. We expect Man United to disappoint. Manchester United, arguably the third biggest club on the planet. Their fans are like, oh, we lost. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think the first step they need to take is getting rid of that bald manager, Erik ten Hag. Because I don't know what they thought was going to happen. That FA Cup win saved his career. That FA Cup win saved his career. I don't know if Pep Guardiola sent his team out to lose that game on purpose just to keep Erik ten Hag in the league and said, you know what, let's keep him there. At least that's a free 6 points every single season. If he's there, it's a free 6 points every season. If they get someone else, then it's a problem. Then, it's like 4 points, 1 point. If he's there, it's a free 6 points, home and away. Come on. He won a stupid FA Cup, and now all of a sudden, he deserved to stay in the job, despite Man United finishing, what was it, eighth position. But because he won a single game against Manchester City, yeah, give him a contract extension, and let him stay in the job. These guys were literally a foot away from getting knocked out by Coventry in the semifinals, and they said, yeah, you know what? Yeah, give him another year. They lost 4-0 to Brentford. They lost 6-3 to Man City. I remember Manchester City beat them recently, and it was comfortable. Like, for me, I don't know about you guys, but I think the worst thing to ever see, I'd rather watch my team get beat down than watch them lose a game 2-0, 3-0, and the opposition is comfy. They don't get out of second gear. They're just passing the ball around in your own stadium too. It's not even like you're away from in your own stadium. They come there and it's comfy. I've watched it happen with Barcelona. The Bayern Munich games in the group stages where they come to the Camp Nou and they win 3-0 and it doesn't even look like they broke a sweat. Those are the worst games of all. Those are the worst ones where they're essentially just keeping you at arm's length. So far that you're far enough that even if you throw a few swings, you can't touch them. But if they want to really beat down on you, all right, let's get a second and a third and a fourth. Okay, now we can hold you at arm's length again. It's pathetic, man. It's pathetic. And I feel for United fans. I feel for them because this isn't what they signed up for. Like, especially those who, they were there for the Champions League nights, the semifinals, the finals, the Premier Leagues. Now look at this. It's baffling, man. It's baffling. I'm not even going to talk about the individual players. Goodness me, if I did that, I would be here for about an hour. Bruno Fernandes, whether you think it's a red card or not, that guy being Man United captain, I think is just the epitome of the states that football club is in. You look at someone like Marcus Rashford. Amad Diallo being on the bench. Like, Man United, man. Honestly, they're the gift that keeps on giving. Chelsea were that for a few years. You know, they were that for a few years where everyone just looked at them and you're like, what on earth is this football club doing? But Man United, they've been that for 13 years now. 12, 13 years now, they've been that. Just a basket case of a football club. Fair enough, man. I wish every single one of you Man U fans watching, you're a loyal person. You're a loyal person, and I wish you all the best in the future. Honestly, I do. Coming from a Barcelona fan, I've seen dark times. Don't worry, it gets better. It gets better. Don't worry. Just stay in there. Stay in there. You'll be fine. You'll be out of it. You'll be the lights at the end of the tunnel. Trust me. You'll see better days. You'll see better days. But of course, that is all that I have for today. Football Fanatic, I told you guys I'm back. I know you were wondering, oh, it's almost been a week. He still hasn't uploaded. I told you, don't worry about me. I'm gonna be uploading. I'm gonna be here. Right here. I am not leaving this seat, as Pep Guardiola said. But of course, if you guys have anything you would like to talk about, anything you'd like to mention, get down in the comment section. Let's have a discussion. What do you think about Manchester United's perilous situation with Erik ten Hag, as well as on a grand scale, really? What did you think of Tottenham Hotspur's performance? Was it more Tottenham Hotspur being irresistible, or was it Manchester United just being an absolute car crash of a team? What did you think about Cole Palmer's 4 goals? I unfortunately wasn't able to view that live, but I did see the goals, and uncomfortable conversations might have to be had about that boy. All right. Real Madrid drew with Atletico Madrid. 3 points, still at the top of the league. Liverpool continue to win. Manchester City. Rodri is out for the season. That's another thing. And that's a whole nother discussion as to how many games footballers are playing and how many injuries we're starting to see in the modern game. I might make a video on that. If that's something you guys would like to see, let me know. But as regards to Football Fanatic, that's all for today. If you liked it, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that post notification bell so you never, ever, ever miss out on a video. I'm going to be here at least once a week, every week, talking about football. If there's any things you'd like me to discuss, get down in the comment section. Let me know. But as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Take care of yourselves.